Rebecca's definitely a mini-me. I mean, she is on the absolute chip, which, as you guys know, kind of being here at RFK, I'm never sitting in one place. There is always, I am on the move at all times.
So what I'm getting here is that the guys at RFK that work behind the scenes essentially scheme against the drivers.
Yeah,
and they
play
pit
both
the drivers
sides
up again. Is that what's going on here, Ryan?
1,000%. I felt like the tire we brought this weekend made a huge gain in what we've seen from an on-track product. So my hat's off to Goodyear because they are doing everything right, working with the teams and the drivers to give the fans a great product.
And we welcome you into Backstretch Banter on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90, your home each and every week for Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. I am Chris Childers. We have a special show today. We have a new member of the RFK team hanging out as my co-host today, Cole Peterson. I mean, he's been with RFK, but he's a new member on the show. We've had Mike Massaro a time or two, but great to have Cole hanging out with us today. And Cole, we will be joined by the great driver of the number 60 Ford Mustang, back for the second straight week. Mr. Ryan Preece is with us. Ryan Preece, hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. You're my hype man. I love it. I'm bringing you to all my cup races.
You should. I should be the announcer guy just when you get out there. And, I think we'll win a lot of polls. I think we'll get into victory lane. I'll put you in the right mindset, and absolutely we need to proceed with that. I'm available, ready, willing, and able. It's good to see both of you, Cole. Welcome to Backstretch Banter, hanging out today. Good to see you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I've joked about being on here for a couple weeks, half serious, and now I finally get my chance to shine in front of the world on Backstretch Banter with Ryan Preece. So,
well, nobody will help you shine more than the driver of the number 60. I promise you that. Wearing his Boston Red Sox alternative hat today. All right, let's get into it. Martinsville, you were on last week with your crew chief. We talked a lot about the race going in. There was a lot mentioned about the Martinsville hot dogs going in, and weirdly, you were featured heavily with those things over the weekend. Whether you consumed one or not is left to be told, but overall, hell of a weekend. How would you describe it as we celebrated your birthday, pal?
Well, that was fun. I had a great time. It was honestly, between the whole thing, I ended up driving my motor home up on Thursday, and the Wheel and Modified Tour was there, so I had the opportunity to do the broadcast with MRN during that race. So it was a great weekend, and obviously my birthday. They had a lot of fun with that. They enjoyed doing the Ford Bronco little car prank. There was a whole lot going on. I don't even know how to describe it, but
there was hot dogs with candles. There was Baddie birthday signs.
Baddie birthday signs
is like the young kids say that stuff. My 11-year-old says Baddie stuff, and I don't know what the hell she's talking about, but apparently Preece does. So you had a time.
Yeah, we definitely had a time. That's for sure. And what I can tell you is, after qualifying, I had a nothing bunt cake, I believe it was. One of the crew members got it for me. And they also got me a crumble cookie, so I had plenty of sugar that weekend. The drive home was needed with a Celsius to keep me going.
what kind of bunt cake?
It had a few different things on it, and I can tell you that after consuming it, the sugar level went way high, and I was ready to crash.
So you needed that sugar then to balance out the saltiness of the hot dog that you ate, the Martinsville hot dog that you love?
No, I definitely didn't eat that.
You didn't eat it?
I didn't. I'm not a big Martinsville hot dog guy. I feel like, it's just it's not my style. I guess if you're from Virginia and Martinsville and that's what you like, that's what you love. It's just not for me.
But I feel like you falsely advertised this weekend. Like you had the cupcake thing, which was true to your personality. I mean, you were kind of like, that's gross. But didn't I see another video of you and there was a woman, I don't remember what it was, but you were kind of like pro hot dog in the video.
5,000
What was going
hot
on
dogs.
there? I feel like it was false advertising. What happened?
I am pro hot dog. Just not, I don't want to. The Martinsville hot dog, that's the thing you go do at Martinsville, right? So it's just, it's not for me. And, some people
But what
it
was
is.
the video you did with that girl?
I think she was saying how many hot dogs it took to get around Martinsville. How many hot dogs would it take to go, to make the whole racetrack? And it was 5,000 hot dogs.
You seemed kind of pro hot dog is all I'm saying.
Would you eat 5,000 hot dogs?
In a lifetime or in a day?
In a day.
I don't think I could.
No.
I could try. I'm a very big hot dog fan, but I'm very specific in my hot dogs. I will not eat random brands of hot dogs.
Yeah, I feel the same. That's kind of why I don't eat the Martinsville one. But Joey Chestnut, how many hot dogs, what's his record? What do we think it is?
Something
I think it's close to
insane.
80
80
in 10 minutes.
In 10 minutes?
Mm-hmm. With the help of water, though. He's not enjoying the hot dogs for himself, right? It's a competition.
Yeah.
How many do you think you would get down? 10 minutes.
Ooh, I don't know.
You got to give a number. You can't say you don't know.
I feel sick thinking about it, so I don't
How
think
many
I can
did your
give you a
crew chief
number.
have last weekend?
Oh, he was excited about it. I mean,
he got into it, didn't he?
Oh, he got into it. I'd be willing to guess. I don't know the actual number, but I'm willing to say over 15.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying. I saw him consume 2.
Yes.
At one point, so that was in the span of a 5-minute deal. So I'm just kind of doing the math of how long we were actually there, and I think he probably had about 15.
That a boy. I'm proud. If you're going to do it, you might as well do it to the best of your ability. It looked like a fun weekend. Certainly the birthday festivities were going on. You had your family out there at the track. Bentley was hanging out, which was really cool to see. It'd be a family affair. Chris Buescher had some fun with you this past weekend. So certainly as the season is unwinding, the team was, a little bit lighthearted. Before we talk about your kid being at the track for the first time, which is always a great memory, what's going on with Buescher? I mean, give me, he's having some, I guess he's gotten comfortable with you as his teammate.
Oh, I never, yeah, well, I think some ideas are being fed to him now, so he's got some help. The first one was definitely him, because I remember when we landed in, it was Kansas, and we walked up to the Broncos. I was like, oh, Chris, this is exactly your style. You like off-roading and lifted vehicles. And he's like, oh, yeah, we should take the doors off them. And I just kind of, snickered and laughed it off. And then he took my door off. So, I mean, beyond that, it's kind of like I feel like admin is feeding him ideas and helping him execute them, which is just straight dirty. That's not fair. So what I will say is my man is going to get it back, and it's going to be good, and it's all my idea. So when everybody hears about this, just remember it was executed by me.
I'm excited for it. Could be coming soon, right?
At some point, you never know.
Yeah, Cole, is this like talked around the shop? Is this like, remember the episode? I don't know if you ever watched How You Met Your Mother, but there was these slaps that were owed to Barney. And but he never knew when they were coming. It could be at any point in time. He could just get slapped in the face. Like, is this before the season ends, or could this linger on and Buescher not even know what's like? What's our strategy here?
I feel like timing is the best part of it. Of like you said, not knowing when it's gonna happen is almost as bad as doing the actual act. Living in constant fear of being pranked like that. But I got a good idea of when Ryan's gonna do it. The idea has been brought to me. I think it's a good one. I'm not going to say when it's going to happen, but yeah, I think it'll be worth checking out when it comes out.
So what I'm getting here is that the guys at RFK that work behind the scenes essentially scheme against the drivers.
Yeah,
and they
play
pit
both
the drivers
sides
up again. Is that what's going on here, Ryan?
1,000%.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one was just it was Chris, just pulling a funny joke.
Yeah, just being Chris.
The second one was definitely them saying, hey, I got an idea. Just go along with this. So this one I feel pretty good about. And I mean, honestly, it's funny, right? And when they came up to me at the merchandise hauler when I was signing autographs, the first guy who gave me the Bronco without the door. I was like, oh, that's pretty clever. Man, I can't believe you thought of that. The second one, I quickly was like, are they giving away Broncos to like kids here? You know, where are they getting these things?
Yeah.
And what I've learned is whenever admin's around and he pulls his phone out to record, something's about to happen. And it's definitely planned. So I've got a cheat code from now on, and I am ready, because not only is Chris going to get it back, so is admin. Admin will get it too.
I think he locks his car doors, though, so that's going to be a little tougher to get him back.
I know how to break into cars. I've locked my keys in enough cars that I know how to break in.
A Connecticut boy, I would not be shocked if Ryan's learned a thing or two out there about how to get into a vehicle, whether you have the keys or not. I think it's been kind of a fun little subplot. Now, I got to know, with all this messing around with you and Buescher, there are 3 drivers on the team. Just so happens that one of the drivers' name is on the 3 letters that I'm looking over your head, RF and K. The K is Keselowski. So is it just kind of we don't mess with him kind of a thing? Or what's... Because it's amazing how these guys, admin will mess with you and Buescher, but I don't hear Brad ever getting mentioned in this.
Yeah, he owns it. I mean, he's part owner in the team, and, you know, we fly with him sometimes, and he's a big part of us being here. I'm not going to play a joke on him. I'll help Brad get Chris if he wants to get him, but I am not playing a joke on Brad. I'm not taking Brad's door off.
Probably the same way, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Brad off limits. I want to see somebody mess with Jack Roush at some point. And then really, you know, I want to see who has guts back there in the shop in Concord. It's not Preece, I'll tell you that. He's
not me. I'm bowing out, man.
It's not going to be me anytime soon. All right, let's talk about the race itself. The car was really fast. You had an interesting day overall. When you just break it down, you started 18th, you reached 11th in stage 1, you got up to 7th in stage 2, you were right there in the final stage, you got up to 3rd. Did have a caution, as always, which affects things, but overall, the race car seemed really fast. You were right there in contention. How would you put Martinsville into words?
It's honestly interesting the difference a year makes. And the reason I say that is a year ago, if we finished 6th, that would have been ecstatic, like super happy, all those things. Sunday, I was pissed. And I was pissed because this is, you know, second time just an untimely caution comes out when we're in the middle of a pit cycle and running well, and it just kind of flips it on us. You know, the benefit was we were the lucky dog, and they had lapped so many cars that we still restarted, you know, 8th, or we were still in position 8th or 9th. So it wasn't as bad as it could have been. But I felt like if we ever had track position on a restart and was able to start closer to the front, that it would have been really interesting. I feel like we would have been a part of that battle for the lead, because we constantly were starting, you know, 9th, 10th, 11th, taking our time, taking care of tires, and then driving our way forward, and you would be hearing about us around lap 60 or 70, and, you know, that was fun. So Martinsville, the tire, everything about it is kind of what we've, you know, as race car drivers have been vocalizing to the media, is we want tires that fall off. We want, you know, all those things, and be able to use the tools that we learned coming up. And, you know, I felt like Martinsville, this race, was everything that you want as a race car driver as well as a fan. Anybody who complains about Martinsville, I don't know what you want, because there was comers and there was goers. There was people that fired off on restarts and then they fell. And then there was ones that dropped back for positions, you know, to save tires, and then, you know, they made gains. So to me, from the short track side of things, all I hear is complaining about, you know, hey, we need to make this better. We need to make this better. We need to do this. And I felt like the tire we brought this weekend made a huge gain in what we've seen from an on-track product. So my hat's off to Goodyear, because they are doing everything right, working with the teams and the drivers to to give the fans a great product.
With that tire and that fall off, coming towards the end, before that yellow, you were shaving off 1/10, 2/10, close to 3/10 a lap off those leaders. How confident were you over those last 25, 30 laps that you could catch up to them and make the pass? Just taking care of your stuff, coming from that kind of background and racing like that, growing up. How much did that benefit you on those longer runs? And as you got going, you started gaining 1/10 or 2 on those guys in front of you.
I mean, so as a driver, all you can do is focus on what's in front of you. All I know and what I saw was people starting to struggle, and the way I was going about taking care of those tires, and as well as a lot of the great adjustments we made overnight, and by we, I mean the team. I didn't get under there and make any adjustments. I just got in the car, but that was a huge part in it. So I think for me, when we would restart 9th, my job in my head was I want to maintain my track position. I didn't want to give it up, but at the same time, I didn't want to push harder than I wanted to. And then from there on, you just kind of waited to pass people. I didn't want to push the issue more than I needed to, and I wanted to make it to where when people started to fall off, passing them was a lot easier, because it's a lot easier passing somebody on lap 60, 70 if you have a long run like that. I was hedging on the fact we were going to have 70-plus lap runs. We could have had cautions every 65 laps, and it wouldn't have paid off. But, as people later into the run started to really struggle with forward drive and getting their car around the racetrack, I felt like the management and the way my car drove in practice and some of the adjustments we made, I felt really confident in the ability it was going to have to go forward. But, ultimately, the 12, the 24 were definitely, the class of the field when it came to the front. It just would have been nice to have the opportunity to restart up front with them to go toe-to-toe with them.
Ryan Preece hanging out with us today on Backstretch Banter with RFK, the driver of the number 60 Ford Mustang. It was a great race in Martinsville. It might change a little bit next year with the added horsepower. How do you think that might impact the quality of the race?
Honestly, I think the tire made a massive change. So we're probably 80% of the way there already. Mm-hmm. I think the tire, adding horsepower is just going to make it that much more important, and the way you have to drive and the way you have to save and to take care of your stuff. So I think Goodyear's done a lot of the heavy lifting, and I think we're going to see that across the board in all aspects. I've noticed it a lot over the course of the past few weeks, and I think 2026 is only going to see more of it.
So is the tire, I think this is an interesting conversation, because the race was incredible, and I watched the entire thing, and I had a lot of fun as a race fan just watching everything that you just laid out a few minutes ago. So when you look at the tire, there's so many things that are factored into a race being entertaining, good. Where would you put the quality of the tire when it comes to what we see as race fans and consider quality racing overall? How big of a variable is it actually? Because it seems like you're leading us down a path that it's massive.
Yeah, so I have a lot of experience racing short tracks and kind of doing a lot of tire testing, so to speak, on a lower level. And there's ways about building tires. You can build them really durable, hard, and essentially what you're going to do as a race car driver is make 100 qualifying laps. And at that point, the importance of how your car unloads, the speed of the race car, those things all matter so much. Where if you have softer tires and how you get there, I don't know, because I don't build tires. I just know how they feel. But for me, softer tires, and when they wear out, what it does is it allows you as a race car driver to decide, hey, I'm going to push hard right now at the beginning of the run, and I might pay the price. Or you can choose to just take care of them. And by taking care of them, I'm not going to go into specifics, but there's ways to go about it to where when you get later into that run, when your car is, the rubber on the right rear tire is gone, it's just a lot easier to pass people and do things later into into a run than is at the beginning. And what that causes is passing. And for race fans, that's what people care about. They care about on-track battles. They care about passing and, all those things. So what also ends up happening is different strategies, right? Because if people push it early and then they're forced to pit early, now you have guys on pit road. Now you're focusing on those things. And then you have guys that are like, hey, my car's really good in the long run. I'm going to continue running this long. And it makes things exciting. There's nothing exciting about watching guys go out there and do 100 qualifying laps. Like, yeah, okay, you're driving the piss out of your race car, but it's not that exciting to watch.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree with you. And we had a great race this past weekend along those lines. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Chris Childers, Cole Peterson. We're hanging out with the driver of the number 60 Ford Mustang with one race left to go in Phoenix, Ryan Preece. We'll continue the conversation next on Backstretch Banter. We are back here on Backstretch Banter, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90. Chris Childers, Cole Peterson, hanging out with us today from RFK, and we are joined, our special guest is Ryan Preece, the driver of the number 60 Ford Mustang, as we head to Phoenix this weekend. Ryan, we just talked about Martinsville. It was a good day overall for the number 60 team. I know that left you a little bit pissed off in the end because you knew that you had a chance to win if a thing or two would have went a different way, but still overall productive day. Like you said, if it was last year, you would have been thrilled with that. Was kind of a wild race, and in the first stint, the field was lapped up to 14th early on. From a driver's perspective, and you've been on that track plenty of times in the past, as the way it was playing out, as we were lapped up to 14th, how surprised were you?
Very surprised. But at the same time, maybe not. My intentions going into the race were take care of the tires, and as soon as the green flag dropped, it was like being at a go-kart track with a bunch of buddies that were just kind of running into each other. So for me, you could just tell the agendas were different. And I think you also saw people fall off from doing that. So, for me, I was happy we were on the good side of it. And, as a race car driver, when, you're running 11th or whatever, and the caution comes out at the end of the stage and you hear, and there's only 14 cars on the lead lap, you're thinking to yourself, okay, if we need to make an adjustment here and it goes the wrong way, we're still going to be in good shape because you can only drop to X amount, like 14th, right? Or vice versa. If you have a bad pit stop or anything that happens, it kind of gives you a sense of relief or kind of like a safety net. But yeah, no, I mean, it just goes to show you that they accomplished the goal that they were trying to accomplish, and that was tire fall off.
Chris Childers, Cole Peterson, Ryan Preece, Richmond, now behind, or not Richmond, I said that last week too. Martinsville now behind us.
You really want to go to Richmond, huh?
I really do. I guess I'm just a Richmond lover, which it is a great place. But we're going to Phoenix this next weekend. It was certainly a special weekend for you. It was a crazy race. It was a fun race, but you did have the baby there for the first time. What was that like for you as a dad to have the youngster around? Certainly you were worried about your job, but I'm sure father instincts kicked in. What was it like to have Bentley hanging out at the track for the first time?
No, yeah, it was cool. It was cool because, Rebecca is a new big sister, and having Bentley, it's new for Heather and I trying to manage having two kids. And, when you're a kid yourself and you have brothers or sisters or whatever it may be, you don't think about what your parents are trying to do to juggle all of that around. But what I will say is how we ended up with the name Bentley is so
Yes.
Heather loved the name Bentley, just because it's kind of like a Southern name, and I don't even know her whole thought behind it. But my thought...
Where's she from? Where's Heather from?
Massachusetts, so not very Southern.
So she's not Southern. Got
no. But the great part about it is when she said Bentley, so being a race car driver from the Northeast, you hear the name Bentley Warren, and he was a really badass, race car driver. So... as soon as she said Bentley, I'm like, hell yeah, there was a real badass race car driver named Bentley Warren. I mean, yeah, so this kid's going to be Bentley Ryan. It's great. And, as soon as as soon as she said that, I was just going along with it. Like, yeah, that's a great name. I love it. I didn't tell her the reasons why.
How was Rebecca adjusting to being an older sister? Does she know yet? Is she taking care of Bentley at all? Is she adjusting well? I know she's not terribly old, but
yeah. So Rebecca is all gas, no brakes. She is on the chip, and when I say the chip, I'm not talking like the 6,000 RPM chip. She is on the 9,000 RPM chip, and she just she does. She's 2 years old, right? So she understands now, that she's a big sister, and little Bentley isn't going anywhere. You can't just return him. He's going to be around. So she has her moments where, like any 2-year-old does, where she's fighting for mom's attention. Unfortunately, she has to settle for dad, but it's a good time. And I mean, really what's happening is I take over bedtime now. And instead of what I call therapy session, where Heather goes up there and Rebecca just sits there and says, Mom, and asks questions, I answer some questions, and finally we get to a point where it's too late, and I say, okay, it's bedtime. We're done. And then she just goes to sleep.
Has Heather set an expectation for you post-Phoenix as far as what is required daily out of your fatherhood duties until the season starts again and we get closer to Daytona now that you have two?
I think I try to balance it the best I can. Having my in-laws down here this past week, it was
That's
nice.
Huge. Yeah.
It was super helpful because she got to go out and go on the swing set, and we have this little roller coaster thing. And I don't mean a roller coaster; it's like a slide for a little.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it, but just to make sure I can make enough time to be able to do those things with her are important to me. So I think balancing all that as well as continuing to be Ryan Preece, the race car driver, it's not easy, but certainly something that I'm going to be looking forward to the months of November, December, and January, kind of, being home, spending time with Rebecca, getting her out, socializing her, and as well as, doing a lot of different family things.
So Heather called Rebecca a mini Ryan. Do you think that Bentley will also become a mini Ryan, spending the 3 months with you in the off season?
Oh, I don't know. Rebecca's definitely a mini me. I mean, she is on the absolute chip, which, as you guys know, kind of being here at RFK, I'm never sitting in one place. There is always, I am on the move at all times. So she very much is exactly like me. She can't sit still. And as soon as she does sit still, or you think she's going to sit still, she's somewhere else. So Bentley, he's pretty chill. Like, he's quiet right now. It's almost thrown us both off because Rebecca wasn't the quietest one, and it's the complete opposite with him. So I'm not entirely sure. I keep waiting for the day he's going to flip the script on us, but it hasn't happened yet.
Oh, it'll probably come. I promise you, and you'll have your hands full even more. That day will come. But what's interesting with the child? It is so wild how they kind of take on our personalities sometimes. When you see it, does it ever alarm you about yourself? Or is it are you like, yep, that's my kid?
Yep, every day with Rebecca right now.
Every day you're like, oh my God,
yeah.
I'm like this. This is what I'm like to deal with.
Yep. Yeah,
I have that problem with my kid too. That's why I bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It definitely is, because
kind of see yourself in a child and see some of your tendencies. It is kind of cool.
You do, and I also see the sass from my wife. You know what I mean? That's where where Rebecca. She's got my hyperness to her, but she's got the sass of my wife. So that's deadly.
Do you get hyper fixated on things too? Like, do you get hyper focused on certain things that you like? Is that a part of your?
Yeah, I think that's why I like racing.
Yeah.
That's probably why I like being a race car driver.
Yeah, you have the ADHD.
Yes, I do. I wasn't going to say it, but I'm glad you diagnosed
me.
me.
That's what I do. That's what I mean. It's the exact same thing. I just won't get into a 200-mile-per-hour car.
Yeah.
But I find other outlets to keep myself busy and amused. And never, my wife would tell you, like yours would tell me, you will never see me sitting down. It just is not something other than right here, right now, because I'm having to. It's not a choice. I promise you that. Ryan Preece hanging out with us today on the program. Now, Ryan did sit down a little bit, and he jumped into the broadcaster booth. As he mentioned, he got to Martinsville a little bit early, and he called the modified race. Little broadcaster, little Al Michaels in you, little John Madden. What was it like for you to broadcast, and is it something that, you might be wanting to do a little more of?
I do it here and there, but it's not. I know my strengths,
You don't
and I
love
know
it?
I like it, but I know
Okay.
I'm not as good as somebody that did it all their life. Like I couldn't host a Sirius XM show like
Sure
you
you
can.
could.
No, I can't. I know I'm a race car driver, and I know those things, and I'm gonna stick to those things. I think there's definitely a lane, and there's guys that went to school. They wanted to be a broadcaster or a TV announcer, and they're really good at it, and there's a reason they're really good at it. Me, I'm a race car driver. I stick to driving race cars, and I'm gonna stick to doing that. But it was nice to be a guest and let Kyle, Ricky, and those guys lead me and let me give my perspective on things, because that's what I come from, and kind of, I have a different view of when people are racing or making moves or kind of seeing things happening before they happen. But definitely not. I don't think I could just play that lead role for 2.5, 3 hours.
So a lot of Cup guys have called truck races this season as well on FS1, including Brad this past weekend. Did you watch any of that broadcast at all? Do you have any notes to give to Brad on his booth call from the truck race?
No, Brad does great, and I feel like the guys that are up there do a really good job with them. And, I enjoy, because here's the thing. Like, I listen to Brad in meetings, and I hear his perspective on things. So I enjoy seeing that and hearing those things. And, I feel like it can open the eyes to viewers. What I'm saying is I don't want to be somebody that has to lead a conversation and kind of, bring, what's that saying? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to be the
you don't
person.
want to be like directing in the conversation.
Correct.
I get it. You just want to react and have somebody kind of talk you through it. Listen, I think you'll be a wonderul broadcaster. Don't sell yourself short.
You're so nice.
You're a racer, and that's what you care about, and you have a race to win this weekend in Phoenix. So I get it, but I'm glad that you enjoyed yourself. What are modified races like for you just to watch? As somebody who has, raced at all kinds of levels, that cut his teeth in Connecticut, when you just get a chance to be a part of those and watch those race car drivers that are, making beans, and the teams are making beans, but doing it for the love of the sport. What are those moments? Do they resonate with you?
Well, I think, I have a lot of great relationships with people that race modifieds currently still. Justin Bonsignor, and the names go on and on. They're people that I still talk to this day. I think what was really cool for me, so there's a kid named Austin Beers. He's now the youngest NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour champion, and I was the youngest one until he beat me this past weekend.
Oh, wow.
And what's really neat about that is he's a good kid. Like I've known his family. I actually almost drove his father's race car one time when I was probably, 18 or 19 or whatever years old. And whenever they were around and I was around, I'd play video games with him because he was like that 6-7-year-old kid, and I was 18, 19 or whatever. Fast forward, he's an adult now. He's racing modifieds, and he had the opportunity to go out and win the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour Championship, and he did. And I told him, I was extremely proud of him because there was multiple opportunities throughout that race where he was put in a tough situation, and he made smart decisions. And you can't buy that. Like, you can't teach that to somebody. So it was nice to see him go out there and succeed. And for me, I was proud of him. I was happy for his family because that's a massive accomplishment. And but sitting there and watching modifieds, like just watching them go around, it sucks to not be racing.
So going to
want to get in there.
Going to those Cup style tracks as a modified driver like Martinsville, New Hampshire, Richmond, you mentioned to me how much the facilities meant to you and how cool it was to go race at a track like that with those kind of facilities. Can you expand on that and go back to your 18-year-old self and racing at those Cup-style tracks and what you thought when you raced there?
Yeah. So, I mean, when I was 18, the only Cup-style track that we went to was New Hampshire. Like, we didn't go to Richmond. Well, actually, I lied. We did go to Martinsville, but it was never on Cup weekends. And see, the nice thing that they've done is Loudon was always Cup weekend, but Martinsville wasn't. And they've now incorporated the modifieds, even though they lead into the weekend, so they're typically Thursday races, which can be challenging for a lot of the volunteer pit crew guys and drivers and teams, because they're all blue-collar racers. Like, there's not many full-time people. I mean, if there's 5 or 6 full-time guys in the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour pit area, I'd say that's about what there is. The rest is volunteers that are either plumbers or HVAC techs, or they have some sort of company. Yeah, they just love it. So, but yeah, no, I loved racing at those style tracks. New Hampshire was always a huge one for us, and it was kind of like the Modifieds Daytona. So yeah, it was nice to be a part of those.
Ryan Preece, our guest today, Chris Childers, Cole Peterson, Backstretch Banter with Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. Let's continue the conversation. One more to go in Phoenix. 4 drivers going for the championship for R3. We would just like to end the year in victory lane. We'll talk more about it when we come back on Backstretch Banter. We're back here, Backstretch Banter, with RFK Racing, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90. I'm Chris Childers. My co-host today, Cole Peterson from RFK, and it's been fun hanging out with Ryan Preece throughout the show, the driver of the number 60 Ford Mustang, as we go to Phoenix this weekend, as Celsius and Kroger will be on the hood of the number 60 Bodyguard on the 17, and Castrol on the number 6, driven by Brad. Let's talk about Phoenix. Certainly, there are different stakes for different drivers. Ryan, as we go into this weekend, how do you approach the final race?
Honestly, I feel like we've got some good momentum right now between Vegas, the Roval, Martinsville. These are all places we've been, I feel like, pretty strong. So the goal for us at Phoenix, we have a practice session where we get 3 sets of tires. I feel like we're gonna go out there and try to tune on what we've been doing the past few weeks, and for us, the next step is qualifying in the top 10. I think that's what's gonna make our Sundays that much better. Having track position, and we've seemed to put a lot of the other pieces of the puzzle in place, and that's kind of one of the last ones. So we have our goals, and my goal is to win this season before the end, and I feel like we've been strong. And in respect to the guys that are racing for a championship, that's you don't want to be in the middle of that, but if our car is good enough to win, I'm not pulling over.
So we've talked about tires all episode. In the spring, they had the option tires. You use those to lead 34 laps in the spring before they obviously faded off a lower quality, life quality of the tires.
Well, actually, I still think we were going to win, even if the caution came out, and that's what ultimately happened.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So without those option tires in the fall race now next weekend, what are your thoughts going into the race? Buescher said before he had his first 4 straight top 10s at Phoenix that he would like to burn the place down. Do you have any thoughts of that, or what are your thoughts on Phoenix as next weekend as the season wraps up?
So Chris doesn't like Phoenix?
He does now. He said before he had those 4 straight top 10s, he wanted to burn Phoenix down. Yeah. And he said he almost did. He said he ran into the tire barrier and it caught on fire.
Oh.
So Phoenix is still with us. Obviously, we're there next weekend, but I was wondering if you had any thoughts on the track.
I don't really anywhere that we go that you have to hit the brake pedal, I like. So even though I hadn't had and still continue to not have the best finishes at Phoenix, we've been around that 16th to 14th, I think, range. I feel like the opportunity to have a great day is there. So answering your question, I like Phoenix. It just doesn't like me back. And sometimes, things that'll change. And I feel confident that this is a good weekend to have a good weekend.
What do you think of the decision not to use the option tires for the championship? Do you think the stakes are too massive to introduce something like that, an oddity in the championship race?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think it would be right to have, 2 sets of option tires laying that if one of those guys just happened to, luckily save one of those sets and then you have a caution with 10 to go and they have a massive advantage. And I don't know. To me, if you're going to be a champion, you need to have a successful season, and not just a successful 10 races. I'm talking like a successful season. So I'm really interested to see kind of what transpires and in the direction of what our sport goes when it comes to that, because I'm a purist and I'll leave it at that. But I think Phoenix is definitely a place that I'm happy we're going in the direction of the soft tire. We're going to have one, tire that we're using the entire time. And, I understand why they did it. They did it to help find a direction. They did it to create different strategies. And I think what we're seeing right now is we've made a tire and we're heading in a direction that they don't have to kind of like put us in a box of where we have to make decisions to put on these tires or not put on these tires, because I think that can just frustrate people. What I think it's what's good about what we're doing right now is you've put it in the teams and the drivers' hands to where we can make the decisions to take care of our equipment and our tires and let it pay off.
Ryan Preece, we go to Phoenix this weekend, our final race of the season. Kroger and Celsius on the wrap this weekend. I'm curious, you've had an entire year of doing a lot of races with the people from Kroger. I'm sure lots of products introduced into your life. How has the sponsorship been with the world's greatest grocery store?
Oh, awesome. I mean, dude, when it comes to, rice, energy drinks, cereals, breads, we got it all. And
oh yeah.
And honestly, it's been fun to do the different activations and different videos and at-track support and at Kroger's across the country. We're having a good time, and to me, I feel like the team here at RFK at all aspects does a great job on really amplifying it. So it's been great to be a part of, and as well as the team on the 60. I've said it on here before, and a good friend of mine, we were talking this past weekend, and a quote I'm going to take from him, or he probably took from somebody else, was ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And that's the nice part I see about the 60 group and the projection and everything that it's doing right now. It's great to be a part of, and I'm it's my type of team.
So piggybacking on the Kroger thing, do you have a favorite video that you've made this whole year? Is there one that stands out with you, maybe you and Chris, anything like that?
I mean, they've all been pretty good. The one that a lot of people liked was the 60-second rice one we did. That one was good. I liked the Oikos.
And you were sick that day, right?
I was sick.
You put on a performance.
Yeah, that's why I didn't say much. We've learned I do better when I don't talk.
It's those looks that tell the story.
That's it.
That facial expression. He's like a modern day De Niro, Mr. Preece. Ryan Preece hanging out with us today on Backstretch Banter with RFK Racing. We are going to Phoenix this weekend. Kroger and Celsius going to be on the ride. Do you drink a Celsius before the race, or does that get you too amped? Do you have to wait?
Oh, I'm caffeine and gasoline, man. So I drink a lot.
How many?
I'll drink one. I'm not. Okay. So my tire guy Cam, he's like a 2 or 3 a day guy.
Is he really?
Yeah. Wow. I mean, yeah, he's on a different level. So
he's a caffeine guy.
I thought I was a caffeine guy. He's got me beat.
You were a caffeine guy. I remember driving with you one time and telling you how much milligrams of caffeine was in a coffee. Yeah. And it was pretty high. It was more than I think I have in a week. And you're like, yeah, I have 2 of these a day. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I need to drink a couple more cups of coffee. So Celsius definitely contributes to that, though.
Yeah.
Got to bring the energy, my friend. I got one right here. I can't go a day without it. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll finish up with Ryan Preece. It is Backstretch Banter with RFK, Chris Childers, Cole Peterson, and Ryan Preece on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90. We're back here. It's Backstretch Banter, Sirius XM NASCAR Channel 90. Chris Childers, Cole Peterson hanging out with us today from RFK, and our guest has been Mr. Ryan Preece, who is driving the number 60 Kroger Ford Mustang this weekend. Celsius will be on the hood. Bodyguard will be on Chris Buescher's number 17, and Castrol, who's been an incredible partner over the years, will be on the number 6. I always love what their wraps look like. It's always got that cool little green that kind of pops off the car. It's going to be sharp this weekend. All 3 cars should be. We'd love to see them get into victory lane. I know they all can't, but 1, 2, 3 would be nice for the final race of the weekend. It's the final race, Ryan Preece, and then the offseason sets in. I know, though, you are preparing. You cannot give it up. The Snowball Derby you will be a part of. Give us a little idea of what it means to you. And I know you still have one NASCAR race left, but are you getting amped for the Snowball, sir?
I am. Honestly, I look forward to it because I like the grind. I like the grind of being in the race shop and getting the car ready and all those things and you know, the springs, the shocks, the bump stops, and all that stuff. So to me, that's exciting. And, you know, as we get through Phoenix and when I get home, that's the majority of where my time is going to be spent outside of being with the kids. And Heather is going to be in my race shop and, you know, running the Gale Forest, which is a spring smasher, and just having a great old time with that. It's a lot of fun for me. So, you know, and for those people that never experienced Speed Weeks or the Snowball Derby, it's basically, for me anyways, the Snowball Derby, it's a week-long event. It's one race, but I'll spend the entire week in Pensacola. I'll be testing on, I want to say it's the Monday before the last or the first week of December. And they'll have a tech day on Wednesday. They'll have a practice day on Thursday. And then they have what's called qualifying night on Friday, which is one of the most intense nights in all of short track racing. And then we'll have a happy hour practice on Saturday. And we'll race on Sunday. So pretty much I'll have more practice at Pensacola in 1 week than I would in the entire season of the Cup Series. And, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
What makes qualifying so intense, would you say?
So there's they only take 30 cars out of time. There's usually 75 cars there, 65 or 75. And they don't care who you are. They don't care if you're, you know, the NASCAR Cup Series champion or some guy from, you know, Connecticut. Everybody's treated the same. So for me, a lot of the preparation and all those things to make sure I bring a Baddie super late model is really important.
Do you really talk saying Baddie, or is that just because of your little birthday sign that you got?
That was the little birthday.
Okay.
How did we end up with the
who was responsible for Baddie birthday?
I think you know who was responsible for it.
Elijah?
Yeah.
Or Derek?
Elijah. I think Elijah asked Derek, and Derek said that he told you that it was going to be a birthday Baddie.
That's it. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Is Elijah the problem always? Is he the one who's always causing problems behind the scenes?
Most of the time, yeah. I'd say.
Yeah?
If it's not
Elijah,
Ryan, it's Elijah. Yeah.
Stir the pot a little bit. He's there, but we can't bring him on so he can defend himself, which is the best part. We can kind of talk about him a little bit behind his back. I love that, though. I do. And the Snowball Derby is going to be a lot of fun. Cannot wait for it. How is it a little bit, you know, cathartic in some ways and I guess just useful for the mind to be able to get in the race shop and work on things a little bit yourself sometimes?
Yeah, I don't know. I love driving race cars. Like it's a dream. But I love working on race cars and you know, making speed, and that way when I unload and do all those things, you know, I'm the one that gets to make the decisions. That's why I own the race cars that I drive outside of the Cup Series, and I have fun doing that.
Yeah, it gives you a chance to, and it's good for you probably. It's healthy mentally. It's healthy to kind of get under the car a little bit and mess around, and I'm sure for a race car driver that just loves you love the science of racing. You love the the putting it together, what makes it go. And I think that for a racer, it kind of shows the passion that you have for the business that you call your profession, which I think is very healthy and cool.
Yeah.
Ryan Preece, a pleasure, an honor. Go get him in Phoenix. And thank you for hanging out with us today, pal.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You were wonderful. Ryan, thank you. It's Backstretch Banter. Enjoy Phoenix.